Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Power of Perception YouTube channel and the Golden Opportunities YouTube channel. Power of Perception on Twitter and Golden Opportunities Coaching is my parent company here. And so today we're going to talk about something I help clients with all the time, and that is how to conquer fear. You know, fear is the absence of faith in what is unseen. Fear is the absence of belief in what is possible. And so when you are struggling with fear, what you're really struggling with is a misnomer the majority of the time. Now, there are certain circumstances in which fear is justified if your life is in danger, but your ability to respond, even in the worst of circumstances, has not been taken from you, even if you falsely believe that it has. Conquering fear is about understanding that you are resilient even in the face of adversity. Conquering fear is the belief that something larger than yourself orchestrates your steps, and also understanding that in any moment that fear is present, the absence of love, which is the greatest power in all of creation, is also present, because one cannot walk in love and fear at the same time. You know, so often people don't act out of fear, but they don't act out of this misnomer that they cannot recover from a negative consequence, or they cannot recover from a negative circumstance, and so they are paralyzed by this emotion that is guarded in the possibility that may not happen. You know, it is much more likely for something to go positively than negatively if your focus is on progress and expansion rather than fear and the inevitable impending rejection that one focuses upon. Conquering fear is about belief in oneself being greater than belief in negative outcome. You know, every day we confront circumstances that could go badly, and if we lived in fear of everything that could go wrong, we would never live at all. Yes, the possibility of rejection is always there. Yes, the possibility of not knowing something is always there, but so too is our reactive, adaptive ability. And when we live in fear, we are discounting the ability we have to react and adapt appropriately to unforeseen circumstances. False evidence appearing real is an acronym that most of us have heard. And the evidence that when someone is living in fear, it's because their mind is set on a single outcome, and not their adaptive ability, is also important in this moment. Understanding that if you are afraid of something, it is because it is pushing you outside of a comfort zone. And the human mind, the biology of the mind, allows us to protect ourselves. That's what it's here to do for thousands, if not millions of years. What the mind has been here to do is to keep us safe, to keep us away from things that are uncomfortable, unpleasant, or in any way dangerous. But here's the thing. The perception of danger is just as dangerous as actual dangerous situations. If we perceive that we cannot do something, if we hold ourselves back, then what we're really doing is robbing ourselves from the actual act of living. A life untested and limits untested is the absence of growth and the absence of contribution of progress. And so you deserve the ability to be certain that you have the capacity to react and respond to unforeseen circumstances with grace and courage. That is how you conquer fear. The belief that your ability to respond is greater than any circumstance. And I'll say that again, your ability to respond appropriately to an unforeseen circumstance is greater than any single circumstance. Overcoming fear is also confronting that worst fear. Asking yourself the question of, if the worst happened, what would I do? What could I do? How would I respond? How would I react? And how would I recover? How would I respond? That means you're reactive. How would I react? That means you can choose the emotional state at which you go into within about a 15-second, 17-second window. You can choose whether you take and follow, or reject any emotional state of being. You do not have to be defined by that crippling sense of fear. Instead, you say, this is just my mind, but it is not the reality unless I make it so. Even in the moments when you're about to speak publicly, yes, you're not going to connect with every person in the room, but if you impact just one, haven't you done what you said you were going to do? Yes, there may be people that you'd like to be in relationship with or in job with that may not understand what you first say when you open your mouth, but that doesn't mean they won't understand the value of your message if you believe it enough. You see, your belief has to be bigger than your fear. Your belief in your abilities, your belief in your talent, your belief in your worthiness to belong wherever you're going or to achieve whatever you've set out to do has to be bigger every time than the excuses and the limitations you place upon yourself. There will be literally hundreds, if not thousands, of reasons you can talk yourself out of doing anything that's good for you. You can talk yourself out of losing weight. You can talk yourself out of approaching that man or woman in your life. You can talk yourself out of making a business decision or applying for a new job, but you can also talk yourself into success. Overcoming fear is also the understanding that all things are working together for the greater good that is your life. The things that you choose to focus upon and the outcomes that you choose to co-create are directly impacted by the realities that